that if you checked my dojo or Google Classroom announcement, you've already read the story that I posted for this week. This week it was not me reading, it was different read alouds that I found online. So I assign stories based on grade level. So you might have read Spring is Here, you might have read Tops and Bottoms, you might have read Please Please the Bees. So whichever springtime story that you listen to or watch today, it's all going to be part of a spring themed art project. It's going to be a two-part project, so I'm going to show you how to do the first part this week. Next week we're going to do the second part. So this is what it's going to look like when it is all said and done. So we are going to make the flower background this week. I'm going to show you two different ways to do it. One with just coloring. I'm also going to show you this way, which is painting it. And then next week, not this week, next week, I'm going to show you how to do the animals. This is going to be the advanced version of how to draw. I'm going to do a rabbit and a bear cub. This is the advanced version. Please don't get scared. I'm going to post this video if you want to try it, if you're up for the challenge. If it is difficult, I'm going to post two videos next week, an easy version and the advanced version. So follow whichever tutorial better suits you. Okay, so keep watching. We're going to do our background for our spring animals this week. So just a tip, while you are making your flowers, you're going to want to put some that are more on the outside of your paper, because when we do the next part of this next week, we are going to be putting something right in the middle of this. You're going to make a picture on another paper. We're going to try to cut and either tape or glue somebody's face right here. So, like I said, making sure you have flowers on the outside. I'm going to show you how to draw this shape as well as shapes kind of like this, and then one more. So if you want to do something like this for a tulip shape, you are going to take paint, crayon, pencil, whatever you're choosing to use, and we're going to make a shape that looks like the letter U. And then you are going to kind of just make a zigzag line. So start right at the corner, and you're going to go down and then back up and then down and back up till you reach the other side. And that is your tulip shape that you can color in. If you want a shape that looks more like this, you are going to take your crayon and you are going to, actually, you know what, I'm going to use this color again. I like this color. You're going to make kind of a teardrop shape like this. And you're just going to continue to make those around in a circle. If you hear my cat meowing, I apologize. She is asking for lunch. And then one more that I can show you that I haven't drawn on here yet. You can start with a little circle like this, and then around the outside of it, we're going to make kind of just a squiggly circle shape and color that in. And that would be one row of petals. And if you want to add more petals to it, you can add another squiggly shape on the outside of that and color that in. And there we go. Have some paint and you would like to paint your flowers, here's a few ways to do that. I am using watercolor paint, so I have my watercolor paint set, I have my paintbrush, and I have a cup of water. A lot of you have already used watercolors with me in school, so you kind of know what to do. You need to start by putting a little bit of water on the color that you want to use. And I'm going to start by making a tulip shape. So we're going to make sort of the letter U. And then I'm going to make a zigzag line that goes up and down across the top, and then I'm just going to fill it in. If you feel your paint start to get sticky, that means you need to add a little bit more water. While I'm still using the red, I'm going to do a couple more flowers with red. I'm going to make a flower by making a shape like this and like this, and I'm going to make the same shape to fill it in all the way around. My shapes are not perfect. They look a little bit wobbly. That's going to happen with paint, and that's okay. All right, I'm going to show you one more shape that you can make, and then I'm going to go ahead and just kind of work on making some different flowers. So the last one you can do that you don't really have to try too hard at all on is you can make just a wobbly circle shape and fill it in. You can mix colors if you want. Like if I wanted to mix a little bit of red into this flower, I'm gonna add some water because that looks really dark. If you add water, it kind of helps to spread it out so it doesn't look so different from the rest of the colors. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish painting some flowers, and then I will show you how to add some details to these. The next thing I'm going to do after I've either painted or colored my flowers with crayon is I'm going to take some markers and outline some of the flowers that I made. I think it's just going to help them stand out a little bit more on the paper. You can draw on top of the crayon part if you want. Sometimes doing marker on top of crayon doesn't work too well. But you're just going to take a marker, if you have one, and outline some of your petals. And it doesn't even have to be perfect. See how I'm not exactly on the lines? That's okay. It is allowed to look a little bit messy. Let's see. I'm just going to continue doing this. If you want to add anything in the middle of your flowers, I didn't really draw too many centers for my flowers, but you can add that if you want to. I'm gonna continue doing this and I will check back in for the next part. All right, so I have painted a bunch of flowers and I think I'm happy with it. The next thing that I'm going to add, if you're doing the painting option, is your stems. So I'm gonna start at the bottom of a flower and take a green line of paint and make a squiggly line that goes all the way down to the bottom of your paper. And I'm gonna go in and do that for all of the flowers on this page. Once your flowers are painted, colored, outlined, however you want to decorate them, the last part is the stems, and if you want to add any leaves to it. So I'm going to take marker, you can take whatever you have to make stems, and I'm going to just make squiggly lines that go from the bottom of your flower all the way to the bottom of your paper. And it's okay if they crisscross past each other. They can be really squiggly and kind of crazy, that's okay. You just want to make sure that it goes all the way to the bottom of your paper where the grass would be. All right. It's clearly not perfect, and that's kind of the goal. Watercolor is not a perfect thing to work with, so the lines and shapes that you make are also not going to be perfect, and that kind of adds to the fact that nature is not perfect either. I'm going to go in and paint some leaves now. So to paint leaves with watercolor, it's very easy. You draw a curved line going up one way, and then you're going to kind of make like a football shape and do a curved line going the other way and color it in with your paint. If you want, you can kind of mix crayon and marker and just draw some leaves using whatever you have to draw or color with at home. I'm going to finish putting some leaves in. Oop, I forgot a stem. And then I will check back with you once my leaves are all done. The last thing you want to do is go in and add some leaves. So a couple ways to do leaves that are pretty easy. You can make a heart shape around your stem. So I'm going to start right down here. I'm going to make half of a heart, and then the other half of the heart on the other side. And you can make leaves that are heart-shaped like that. You can do leaves that are kind of like this. It looks like a football or kind of like a tear squashed oval shape there. You can make them long and skinny like this by starting at the stem. You start that football shape, but make it really, really long, just a squiggly line, and then you want to curve it to finish the leaf. So I have finished my leaves. I'm gonna give this a few minutes to dry, and then I'm going to show you. You could leave it just like this if you want, but I will show you in a little bit ways that you can add some details to this, because I know sometimes when you're using paint, it's hard to get it to look exactly the way you want it to. So I will show you in just a second how to add to your painting. So the last thing you can do to add some details to your paint if you wanted to make the flowers stand out a little bit more is just take a marker and outline some of the petals or the flowers or the leaves that you made. I basically just took markers. You could do the same thing with crayon and just draw lines to trace and add some details to the flowers that you made. I did the same thing with the leaves just to help them stand out a little bit, especially since when I painted some of the leaves, the shape did not turn out exactly the way I wanted it to. And you can outline every little part of the flowers, or you can just do the very outside. You can do little circles in the middle to add the center of your flower, whatever you'd like to do to finish up your flower background. I just finished coloring in all of my leaves. I used a mix of crayon and marker. This is pretty much it for this week and this part of the art project. Next week I will show you how to make a few different animals. You will be able to pick your favorite and draw, cut, and glue him or tape him onto your field of flowers. Thank you so much for joining in with me today. I look forward to seeing you and finishing this project the next time we meet.